Hong Kong. Summer of 1972. The Golden Harvest studio sat nestled in the humidity of Kowloon, where the smell of sweat mixed with cheap cigarettes and the constant hum of film equipment filled the air. Inside Soundstage 4, something extraordinary was taking shape. Enter the Dragon was in production, the film that would introduce Bruce Lee to the Western world and redefine martial arts cinema forever. But on this particular afternoon, under the blazing studio lights, a moment was about to unfold that no camera would capture, a moment that would humble one young stuntman and teach him a lesson he would carry for the rest of his legendary career. Before we dive into this untold story about what really happened when Jackie Chan challenged Bruce Lee on set, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss more real fight legends and hidden martial arts stories like this. The encounters I share here get buried or called myths, but these are the moments that shape the icons you think you know. Hit that subscribe button now. The set was chaos in motion. Stuntmen flew through the air, crashing into breakaway furniture. Assistant directors barked orders in Cantonese and broken English. Grips adjusted massive lights that turned the soundstage into an oven. And in the center of it all stood Bruce Lee, 31 years old, shirtless, his body a sculpture of coiled muscle and restless energy. He moved like water given human form, loose, flowing, then suddenly explosive. Every movement had intention. Every strike had destination. He was not acting. He was demonstrating a philosophy, a way of being that most people on that set could sense but not fully understand. Among the crowd of stuntmen and extras, there was a young man who watched Bruce with a mixture of admiration and something else. Envy, perhaps. Or ambition that had curdled into arrogance. His name was Jackie Chan. He was 18 years old, skinny, with a mop of black hair and eyes that burned with the need to prove himself. Jackie had been grinding in the Hong Kong film industry since he was a child, training at the China Drama Academy under Master Yu Jim Yuan, where discipline was taught with bamboo canes and humility was beaten into you before breakfast. He could tumble, flip, take a hit, and get back up. He had paid his dues. And now, watching Bruce Lee command the set like a king, Jackie felt something stir inside him. A whisper that said, "I can do that. Maybe even better." The scene being filmed was simple in concept but brutal in execution. Bruce's character was supposed to dispatch 3 guards in rapid succession, 1 palm strike to the solar plexus, 1 spinning back kick, 1 elbow to the jaw. The choreography was tight, maybe 7 seconds of screen time. But Bruce insisted on doing it full speed, no slow motion trickery, no clever edits to hide sloppy technique. He wanted the audience to feel the violence, the efficiency, the absolute mastery. The director, Robert Klaus, had learned not to argue. When Bruce Lee said he could do something, he could do it. Take after take, Bruce executed the sequence. Each time, the stuntmen selling the hits had to wear extra padding. One stuntman, a veteran named Lam Chinging, pulled Jackie aside during a break and whispered, "Do you see how he moves? That is not performance. That is real combat speed." Jackie nodded, but inside, that whisper grew louder. "It is just choreography. I have been doing this my whole life. I could replicate that. Maybe with more flair. More acrobatics." The audience does not know the difference between real and staged. During a lighting reset, Jackie stood near a stack of wooden props, talking to another young stuntman named Yuan Biao, one of his brothers from the opera school. They spoke in low voices, but not low enough. Jackie gestured toward the set where Bruce was hydrating, toweling off sweat. "Look at him," Jackie said, his tone casual but edged with something sharper. "Everyone acts like he is untouchable. But what is he doing that we cannot do? It is choreography. Angles. Camera tricks. I could do that sequence better. Add a butterfly twist, maybe a backflip off the guard's chest. Make it more exciting." Yuan Biao's eyes widened. "Be careful what you say, Jackie. That is Bruce Lee." Jackie shrugged. "I know who he is. I am just saying, it is not magic. It is stunt work. And I am a stuntman." What Jackie did not know was that Bruce Lee had the ears of a predator. Years of training had sharpened not just his body but his senses. He could hear a shift in breathing from across a room, sense tension in a crowd, read body language like a book written in neon. And in that moment, 20 feet away, as Jackie Chan dismissed his work as just choreography, Bruce heard every word. The set went silent. Not because anyone gave a command, but because Bruce Lee had stopped moving. He set down his water bottle with the kind of deliberate slowness that made people nervous. He turned, and his gaze locked onto Jackie like a spotlight. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Conversations died mid-sentence. Even the grips paused, sensing something was about to happen. Bruce walked toward Jackie. Not rushed. Not angry. Just purposeful. His bare feet made no sound on the concrete floor. His expression was neutral, but his eyes were alive, burning with an intensity that made Jackie's stomach tighten. By the time Bruce stopped in front of him, the entire crew had formed a loose circle around them. Nobody wanted to miss this. "You," Bruce said, his voice calm, almost conversational. "You think you can do it better?" Jackie's mouth went dry. His bravado evaporated like water on hot steel. He glanced at Yuan Biao, who looked like he wanted to disappear into the floor. Jackie swallowed hard. "Sifu, I was just..." "No," Bruce interrupted, still calm. "You said it is just choreography. That you could do it better. So show everyone. Right now." The circle of onlookers tightened. Someone whispered in Cantonese, "He is done." Another stuntman coughed to hide a nervous laugh. Jackie felt his face flush hot. He wanted to apologize, to take it back, but pride and fear tangled in his throat. And beneath that, a flicker of defiance. Maybe he could do it. Maybe this was his chance to prove himself. "Okay," Jackie said, his voice smaller than he intended. "I will try." Bruce stepped back, folding his arms across his chest. "The same sequence I just did. 3 opponents. 7 seconds. Full speed. Show me better." 3 stuntmen volunteered, or were volunteered, it was hard to tell. They positioned themselves in a line, the same formation from the scene. Jackie took a breath, rolled his shoulders, and centered himself the way Master Yu had taught him. He could feel every pair of eyes on him. The weight of expectation. The thrill of the spotlight. And underneath it all, the cold creep of doubt. The assistant director clapped a slate. Action. Jackie exploded forward. His first move was a leaping punch, flashy, acrobatic, pulled from his Peking opera training. He connected with the first stuntman's chest, not hard, just enough to sell it. Then he spun into a high kick aimed at the second opponent, his legs snapping up past shoulder height, toes pointed, picture perfect. The second stuntman reacted, stumbling back. Jackie finished with a spinning elbow toward the third, stopping just inches from contact, control and precision, exactly as rehearsed 1,000 times in his training. When he landed, Jackie was breathing hard but grinning. The crew clapped politely. A few even whistled. It had been good. Clean. Athletic. Jackie looked at Bruce, hoping for approval, or at least acknowledgement. Bruce's expression had not changed. He unfolded his arms and stepped into the same starting position Jackie had just occupied. Now watch. What happened next would burn itself into Jackie Chan's memory for the rest of his life. Bruce did not explode forward. He glided. His first step was deceptively soft, but his body was already committed, already in motion with a kind of inevitability that made it seem like the outcome was decided before he even moved. His lead hand shot out, a straight punch to the first stuntman's sternum, not pulled, not performed, but delivered with snap and penetration. The stuntman's eyes went wide and he folded slightly, gasping. Bruce did not pause. His rear leg chambered and fired, a side kick to the second opponent's midsection, the impact loud enough that people flinched. The second stuntman flew back 2 full steps, his breath audible even from where Jackie stood. Then Bruce pivoted. The movement was so smooth it looked like the floor was rotating beneath him. His elbow came around in a tight arc and stopped a hair's width from the third stuntman's jaw. The man froze, eyes locked on the point of Bruce's elbow, which trembled with restrained force. Bruce held it there for 1 second. 2. 3. Then he pulled back and stood upright, relaxed, as if nothing had happened. The entire sequence had taken 8 seconds. The silence that followed was suffocating. Nobody clapped. Nobody moved. The 3 stuntmen stood there, visibly shaken, one still trying to catch his breath. Jackie felt his stomach drop. He had just seen the difference between performance and reality, between technique and mastery, between someone who knew how to fight for a camera and someone who knew how to fight, period. Bruce turned to face Jackie. His expression was still neutral, but there was something in his eyes now, not anger, not satisfaction, just clarity. "Do you see the difference?" he asked quietly. Jackie could not speak. His throat was closed. His hands were shaking. He nodded. "You have skill," Bruce said, walking closer. "You have training. You can flip and tumble and make it look good for the audience. But what you did was performance. What I did was application. You moved to impress. I moved to finish. You added flair because you think that is what makes it better. But in a real fight, flair gets you killed. Economy of motion. Speed with control. That is what matters." The crew was still silent, everyone hanging on every word. Jackie felt the weight of humiliation pressing down on him, but something else was there too, something he had not expected. Respect. Bruce was not mocking him. He was teaching him. "Sifu," Jackie said, his voice cracking slightly. He dropped to one knee and bowed his head. "I apologize. I was arrogant and foolish. I spoke without understanding. Please forgive me." Bruce looked down at the young man kneeling before him. For a moment, the hardness in his eyes softened. He placed a hand on Jackie's shoulder. "Stand up." Jackie rose slowly, keeping his eyes down. "Arrogance is not a sin," Bruce said. "It is a symptom. A symptom of not yet knowing what you do not know. You are young. You are talented. But talent without humility is just noise. Do you understand?" "Yes, Sifu." Bruce glanced around at the crew, then back at Jackie. "Come with me." He led Jackie away from the crowd, toward a quieter corner of the soundstage where equipment cases were stacked. The crew dispersed slowly, the spell broken, but everyone knew they had just witnessed something rare. Bruce sat down on one of the cases and gestured for Jackie to sit beside him. Jackie did, still feeling the heat of embarrassment in his chest. "Let me tell you something," Bruce said, his tone softer now, almost fatherly. "When I was your age, I thought I knew everything too. I had won tournaments. I had students. I thought my Wing Chun was unbeatable. Then I fought a man named Wong Jackman in Oakland. It was supposed to be a quick demonstration. It turned into a war. I won, but it took me too long. I was exhausted. My technique was sloppy. And I realized something that changed my life." Jackie listened, his full attention locked on Bruce. "I realized that what I had been taught was not enough. That tradition, while valuable, could also be a cage. So I tore everything down and rebuilt it. I studied boxing, fencing, wrestling, anything that worked. I kept what was useful and threw away what was not. That is Jeet Kune Do. The way of no way. And the first principle of that way is this: be honest with yourself. Do not lie about your limitations. Do not pretend you are better than you are. Face the truth, and then grow beyond it." Jackie felt something shift inside him. The shame was still there, but it was being replaced by something else. Hunger. The hunger to learn, to improve, to become more than he was. "You have something special, Jackie," Bruce continued. "I can see it. You have timing. You have courage. You have creativity. But you need to understand the difference between what looks good and what works. In movies, we can blend the two. We can make effectiveness beautiful. But you have to master effectiveness first. The beauty comes after." "How do I do that, Sifu?" Bruce smiled, the first real smile Jackie had seen from him that day. "You start by letting go of your ego. You train not to show off, but to improve. You study not just your own style, but every style. You ask questions. You make mistakes. And when someone better than you shows you the truth, you do not argue. You listen. If you are still watching this, you understand what real mastery looks like. It is not about being the loudest or the flashiest, it is about being effective and humble. Hit that like button right now and drop a comment telling me one lesson someone taught you that changed your life. I read every comment, and your story might be in the next video." Bruce stood up, and Jackie stood with him. "Tomorrow," Bruce said, "come to my trailer during lunch. I will show you some drills. Not for the camera. For real. If you are serious about learning, I will teach you." Jackie's eyes went wide. "You would do that for me? After what I said?" Bruce placed a hand on Jackie's shoulder again. "That is exactly why I will do it. Because you had the humility to admit you were wrong. That is rare. Most people double down on their ego and learn nothing. You bowed. You listened. That tells me you are ready to grow." The next day, Jackie arrived at Bruce's trailer 30 minutes early. He had barely slept. His mind had been spinning, replaying the humiliation, the lesson, the unexpected kindness. He knocked on the trailer door, and Bruce opened it immediately, as if he had been waiting. "Come in," Bruce said. Inside, the trailer was sparse. A small table, a few chairs, a mirror on one wall, and training equipment stacked in the corner. Heavy bags, focus mitts, wooden dummies. Bruce gestured to the mirror. "Stand here." Jackie positioned himself in front of the mirror, and Bruce stood beside him. "Look at your stance," Bruce said. "What do you see?" Jackie examined his reflection. His feet were shoulder-width apart, knees slightly bent, hands up in a loose guard. "I see a ready position, Sifu." "You see performance," Bruce corrected gently. "Your weight is too evenly distributed. In a real fight, you need to be able to move instantly in any direction. Shift your weight to the balls of your feet. Feel the difference." Jackie adjusted, and immediately he felt more mobile, more springy. "I feel it." "Good. Now throw a punch. Your best punch." Jackie threw a reverse punch, sharp and fast, the way he had been taught. Bruce nodded. "Not bad. But you are telegraphing. Your shoulder dips before your fist moves. In a real fight, that half-second warning is the difference between landing and getting countered. Watch." Bruce threw the same punch, and Jackie could not see it coming. There was no wind-up, no shoulder dip, no wasted motion. The fist simply appeared, fast and direct. "Economy of motion," Bruce said. "Every unnecessary movement is a liability. In Jeet Kune Do, we eliminate everything that does not contribute to the result. No winding up. No chambering unless necessary. Just direct, explosive force." For the next hour, Bruce drilled Jackie on fundamentals. Footwork. Angles. Timing. Distance. He broke down every assumption Jackie had about fighting and rebuilt it with brutal efficiency. It was not flashy. It was not pretty. But it was devastatingly effective. At one point, Bruce stopped and looked at Jackie seriously. "Let me tell you why I am teaching you this. It is not just about fighting. It is about life. Most people perform. They do what looks good, what gets applause, what makes them feel impressive. But they are not building anything real. They are building an image. And when life hits them hard, that image shatters. Do you understand?" Jackie nodded slowly. "You are saying I need to focus on what is real, not what looks good." "Exactly. In movies, yes, we need spectacle. But you must know the difference. Build your foundation on truth, on effectiveness. Then you can add the acrobatics, the creativity. But if you build on ego, on trying to look better than you are, eventually it collapses. And you will have nothing." Bruce walked over to a shelf and picked up a cup of water. He held it in front of Jackie. "You have heard me say this before. Be like water. Water is shapeless, formless. It adapts to whatever container you pour it into. But it is also powerful. It can flow gently or crash with force. It does not fight against obstacles. It flows around them." He poured the water from the cup into a different container. "You, Jackie, are too rigid right now. You are trying to be impressive, to fit a shape you think the world wants. But that is not your path. Your path is to be yourself, fully and honestly, and to adapt to whatever the situation requires. In front of the camera, be entertaining, be creative. But know it is performance. Do not confuse it with reality. Train for reality first. Then the performance will have weight. It will have truth." Jackie took the cup from Bruce and stared at the water inside. He thought about all the years of training, all the ambition. And he realized he had been chasing the wrong thing. He had been chasing recognition. But what Bruce was offering was something deeper. Mastery. Not over others, but over himself. "Sifu," Jackie said quietly, "I will never forget this. I will carry this lesson for the rest of my life." Bruce smiled warmly. "I know you will. Because you have something rare. You have the ability to learn from failure. Most people cannot. They fail and quit, or they blame someone else. But you failed, and you bowed. That is strength. That is the beginning of wisdom." They trained for another hour, and by the time Jackie left, his body was exhausted but his spirit was on fire. He walked back onto the set, and the other stuntmen looked at him with respect. Word had spread. Everyone knew that Bruce Lee had not just humbled Jackie Chan, he had taken him under his wing. Over the following weeks, Jackie continued to train with Bruce whenever time allowed. He soaked up every lesson, every principle, every correction. And slowly, something shifted. His movements became more efficient. His timing improved. His flashiness evolved. It became intentional, purposeful, grounded in effectiveness rather than ego. Years later, after Bruce Lee's tragic death on July 20, 1973, Jackie Chan would go on to become one of the biggest stars in the world. He would create his own style of martial arts cinema, blending acrobatics with humor, danger with charm. But in every interview, in every reflection on his career, Jackie would return to that moment on the set of Enter the Dragon. The moment he said he was better. The 8 seconds that followed. And the lesson that changed everything. He would tell reporters, "Bruce taught me that being impressive is not the same as being effective. He taught me that talent without humility is just noise. He taught me to be like water. And that lesson did not just make me a better martial artist. It made me a better man." That story became one of the defining experiences of Jackie's life. He carried it through every broken bone, every dangerous stunt, every triumph. And whenever young actors or martial artists would approach him, full of ego and ambition, Jackie would smile and tell them about the day he challenged Bruce Lee. The day he learned that mastery is not about being better than others. It is about being honest with yourself and never stopping the journey of growth. If this story moved you, if you see yourself in Jackie's arrogance or Bruce's wisdom, do not just watch and leave. Subscribe to this channel so you never miss another untold story like this one. Share this video with someone who needs to hear the lesson about humility and mastery. And drop a comment below telling me what moment in your life humbled you and changed your path. These stories matter, and the more we share them, the more we grow together. Bruce Lee lived only 32 years, but his philosophy continues to inspire millions. Perhaps his greatest legacy is not the films or the fights, but the lives he touched. The young stuntman he could have destroyed but chose to teach instead. Jackie Chan never forgot. And because he never forgot, we remember.